All right, so now we're on a piece of equipment that pretty much anyone has, a box. You could have a chair, you could have a bench, anything that you could jump off of is where we're going to work on this deceleration, this braking, this kind of springiness. So walk them through this, Ben.
Yeah, so absolutely. So obviously number one is you want to have the appropriate height, box, bench, chair, whatever that you're using, right? So if you're working with older population or maybe less fit population, you might be using a much lower box. It may only be 6 inches off the ground. You know, if you have a high level population, they could be 30 inches off the ground. So working on these braking forces, it's all relative to how much force they create in the other parts of our movements. So we saw with him in his movements that he had that kind of soft U curve at the bottom in his braking, or the creating of that stiffness, that absorbing of the eccentric energy to create elasticity. So I'm gonna have him do is step up on the box here. And literally, he's not jumping. He's not jumping up. He's not jumping. He's literally going to step off and just try to stick it on the bottom. And we can see there, he's kind of spongy at the bottom. Meaning when he hits the ground, his hips keep dropping and getting lower. That sponginess is not what we're looking for, right? Basically, is we're trying to create an overloaded situation of the down phase of the jump, or the counter movement of the jump, right? When I do my counter movement jump, I have a down or a de-weighting phase, right? And then I have to stop that and change direction. So we're trying to increase the load from a training perspective of that downward force. So I'm gonna have him come back up here, and this time I'm gonna say, I want you to land with your knees bent, but I want you to be like a statue. When you hit the ground, just boom, frozen. And that's a much better job there. And you can see he didn't even have to get as deep there, right? Depending on how high the box is, you may have to get a lower, but he didn't have this continued downward action of his hips when he hit the ground. He was able to create actual muscular stiffness there, which is now loading and putting all that stored elastic energy up and into his system.
And the goal is eventually, if you do this for a while, we want to see more of a V-shaped curve in that eccentric part of your squat, not the rounded. And that'll hopefully improve his eccentric utilization ratio, which is going to be pretty important when you get out and play soccer, football, because there's a lot of braking, stopping, starting, and you need more elasticity for that. So your goal is to work on this for a while, and we'll test you in a couple of weeks and see how it works.
Sounds good.